3-2 Miami, season series 6-5 Miami, as we welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Ricky Patalico, I'm Michael Barkan, Ruben Amaro Jr. In a moment, Ricky Bo, I'm looking forward to hearing why Rob Thomson pulled Cristopher Sánchez after 5 shutout innings. I am looking forward to hearing why Nick Castellanos 0 for 3 RISP, and what's up or down with Nick Castellanos. The team's 1 for 9 RISP. No way they should have lost this game.
Yeah, there is a way they should have lost the game. I mean, a couple things are starting to be a little bit glaring. When you think about it, Cristopher Sánchez was outstanding. There's no problem about what he did. I'm a little questioning. I could have seen him going back up for the 6th inning. I would not have had a problem with that. Seranthony Dominguez has not been right in months, and that's should be a big concern to Phillies fans right now. And the bullpen has not been right for a good portion of the last month. And there's a lot of guys in there right now that have been overused. I mean, you look at Gregory Soto, he did a nice job in this game, but I think he was overused for months because there have been injuries in that bullpen. And what do those injuries do? They make certain guys tired, then other guys aren't as sharp. And right now, that's what you're seeing from Seranthony Dominguez. He has not looked sharp. I mean, this is a guy that usually has a bang, bang fastball and then a lights-out slider. He has not been there. I don't know where he is right now, but he's got to get his head back in the game.
You know who else I feel bad for? Let me tell you who else. Trea Turner, the newborn daughter of Trea Turner. And Trea Turner returned, son. I was just testing. Yeah, Trea Turner. And he's back, his first game since paternity leave. He sends one moonshot, the crowd goes nuts, they lose the game. Trea Turner, welcome to the world. All right, let's go to Ruben Amaro Jr. right now, across the way for the crossover. Ruben, what did you sense from this game as the Phillies took a 2-0 lead, then were tied when Seranthony Dominguez came in and unfortunately let up a 2-run home run, and then Jacob Stallings put the game winner the following inning? What's the deal?
Yeah, I just think that that home run sort of took the Phillies the wind out of their sails. Obviously, when you're kind of cruising along and Cristopher Sánchez is pitching extremely well, comes out of the game, and then boom, 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 and you got a tie ball game. I think in some ways, I think it's just sort of a letdown for the boys, and they just couldn't swing. They didn't come up with the big base hit when they needed to. I mean, they were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, left eight men on. They had some opportunities to drive some runs in, just couldn't get it done, unfortunately. And, that Marlins bullpen, that staff overall is a good one. And, you got to put points on the board. And if you don't do that, they're going to come back and get you. And that's exactly what they did tonight.
Grounding into double plays or making that last out when the Phillies have the bases loaded. I'm sure it's frustrating to him. Goodness knows it's frustrating to the fans.
Yeah, he's in one of those funks. He's just not able to barrel the ball up consistently right now. And, it was a little disappointing. I mean, there was a 4-pitch walk, and then he swings at the very first pitch. Hey, if he barrels it up, then it's one thing. He got jammed a little bit on the pitch. Wasn't a bad pitch to swing at. He just didn't get the barrel of the head on it and ended up grounding out. So it was a little disappointing, obviously, but this is stuff that happens during the course of a season, and hopefully he can get out of it and bounce back and start driving in the runs that he'd been doing pretty much all year long. And it's a long season, and right now you like to see him and others step up as well. So hopefully he'll bounce back tomorrow.
Ruben, your thoughts on not putting Cristopher Sánchez out in that 6th inning tonight? It was 82 pitches. He's gone over this during the season. He's been up to 107 on the season. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of would have liked to have him go out another inning, just because the bullpen really hasn't been locked down. I know that they had a day off, and that's great, except that when the bullpen's not really throwing all that well, you kind of like to have your starter go a little bit longer. Didn't really show any signs of fatigue or anything like that, but I guess they're trying to protect the guy. Would love to have seen him throw another inning and extend that a little bit. And take a little bit of heat off of the bullpen. When you have to cover that many innings, it makes it tough, especially with a team that scraps right now, like the Marlins have. And the Marlins have picked it up quite a bit offensively. It's not a team that typically would hit a lot of home runs, but over the last 7 days, they've been hitting some balls out of the ballpark, and And today it was one of those situations where the Phillies had to pay.
Yep, they sure did, unfortunately. Still 41-27 at home, 603 winning percentage. Pretty darn good. All right, Ruben, thanks so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Ruben Amaro Jr. from the ballpark. Thank you very much. When you look at what the Phillies have done, and certainly the relievers this evening, they used 4 relievers.
I said I was concerned, 3 weeks ago? I told you about, number one, Craig Kimbrell, because that's when all the talk started. What is up with Craig Kimbrell? Well, if you look at his past, his last couple of years, it's not that he goes like completely downhill. It's that he's just not as crisp as he was early on in the season, and I think that's the guy we're seeing right now. His fastball's a little bit more flat. He's not locating his curveball. What else does he have? There's nothing left in the well at that point in time. So you got Craig Kimbrell, who I guess historically will start doing this now. He's of age to do that. Sir Anthony, I kind of agree with Ruben in a sense that it almost looks like the comfort zone for him is not there at all. But that's all about trusting your stuff. I think Ruben and I have a little difference on that one. I could go Gregory Soto. I think he was overused early on because of the injuries to the Phillies. They didn't trust anybody else out in the bullpen early on in the season. And now one of the guys that actually is throwing the ball very well, we didn't is Jeff Hoffman. I mean. And you asked me last week, are you thinking about maybe Hoffman moving towards the back end of the bullpen? If this continues with Sir Anthony another week or so, I don't think the Phillies are going to have a choice. They're going to have to move Hoffman to that 8th inning job.
All 3 Marlins runs scored via the long ball. I'm always interested in that because if you have often said before, you hit 3 out of 10, you're going to the Hall of Fame. It's so hard to hit a baseball. They're victimized by the long ball, by the bullpen.
Strom's got to start using both sides of the plate again. I thought when he was starting a little bit at the beginning of the year, I thought he used both sides of the plate and he went up and down a lot more. I think now he's almost using will. I mean, he's trying to will his fastballs by people, and he can't do that, especially later on in the ball game.
When you say he doesn't try to fool you, meaning you know what he's going to throw.
Do you see many?
You know it's coming.
Do you see many breaking balls from him? And if they are, they're hard breaking balls that he's got. If he had something that could kind of really set somebody off a little bit from, and I'm talking speed wise, maybe from 95 down to maybe 82, 83, something that could kind of change their rhythm up there against them. But I mean, the location of the fastball is the main thing. If he puts that ball down on the outside part of the plate, it's probably a strike, and we're not even talking about a home run given up right now. And what's going to start happening right now? Everything's going to start getting magnified. When you look at what's happening to the Phillies right now, they lose a game 3-2 today. Nobody's panicking. Nobody should be panicking. But when you look deeper into it, everybody's going to start to say, what's wrong with Sir Anthony Dominguez? What is Strom thinking throwing a ball out over the middle of the plate? Because that's just normal. When you watch this ball game, what are the 2 things that stuck out to you? Those 2 pitches.
Yep.
And when that happens, everything becomes magnified. And what this bullpen has to try to do as a whole is kind of come together. This is when you guys start talking out in the bullpen. This is where you try to help every single guy in that bullpen. If you're going well, tell them why you're going well. If you think you see something from somebody else, you try to help them in that aspect. Don't wait for the coaching staff.
Well, let's say the missed opportunity certainly in the wild card standings for the Phillies tonight with the loss. They fall to 77-63. They're up 4 games on the Diamondbacks, but they're the Cubs.
I do not want a road trip here for that first series.
Right.
I don't know how you feel. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Of course not. You don't want to go into Wrigley Field trying to win.
You don't want to go into Arizona because that's a house of horrors for the Phillies.
You don't want either of those, but you know what? When you're home, this team wins at home, even though they failed to do it tonight. They have an overwhelming winning record.
Well, it's because of the fans. I mean, obviously you have this fan base behind you, and they're all in red. And we saw what they could do at the park last year. I think that's the atmosphere you want to bring to the ballpark. I don't care when you're playing in the playoffs, but that first round, those are 3 straight home games if needed. And I think that the Phillies being at home, that would be a huge lift to them and the fans.
We were both at the park tonight. The vibe you feel, especially after the Turner home run, puts them up 1-0. Then the Harper single scores Turner. They're up 2-0, and it felt to me like they were up 6-0. Well, and then it just goes away.
It really did. They had that 2-0 lead. You thought game's over. This is one of those games that feels like a 2-1, maybe a 3-4-0 win for the Phillies. And Ruben said it kind of right. The air got taken out of their sails. Sir Anthony went into that game, and I don't think there was a person in the crowd, a person in that dugout that thought Sir Anthony was going to go out there and give up the lead. And it's kind of been a little bit of old hat from him, and that's not what you want. This guy's better than that. He's got a very good fastball. He's got to start locating. He's got to start trusting himself upstairs. And what I mean by that is when you have bad things start to happen to you, that's how you portray yourself. That's when you're going into the game, you're thinking, uh-oh, I'm going to give up another bad pitch, or I can't hang this. And when you start thinking like I can't do something, that's when it happens. You played golf before. Every time you think, well, really? I will tell you this much. Think about this for a second. How many times have you looked and said, wow, there's water right there. I don't want to go in there, and you go in?
Right there.
Sir Anthony there in the sixth when Sanchez was pitching well.
Just a burger. That's Sir Anthony's spot right there.
Wasn't it tough for you to take Sanchez out, given how well he had pitched through his first 5 innings?
Yeah, I think if we had added on there in the bottom of the fifth, then probably would have sent him back out.
Are you concerned about his workload?
Yes. Well, I'm not concerned, but I'm monitoring it because I don't want to put him in harm's way.
How do you balance out with you have a doubleheader on Monday and you don't want to tire your bullpen?
Yeah, today's a couple days away, so I wasn't as concerned about it today. But knowing that we got Knowles tomorrow and Ranger the next day, hopefully we get some length and we'll be fine for the Monday doubleheader.
With the workload, have you seen any signs that he might be tiring out or anything like that?
Well, the last 2 starts he didn't have his changeup, but I thought he had his changeup tonight. I thought it was pretty good, and although he didn't throw first pitch strikes as much as he normally does, he threw strikes and got back in the count. So I was happy with his outing tonight, very much so.
And with Burr, is that based on the way he had swung against some prior at bats, or even if he was over 2 Ks, would he have been out there after 5?
Yeah, and I don't hate, but I think relievers pitch better when they start an inning. So, and it was a right-handed pocket, 4 in a row. They pinch hit Sanchez. I was fine with that. We had really Strom up for Chisholm. Sir Anthony had gotten Sanchez out in the past. He'd been throwing the ball well, so he just left a slider in the middle of the plate, and he jumped on it.
You talk about him pitching well lately, and he had a decent road trip, but he's not getting as much swing and miss these days. Is that something that you see, and is there a concern there?
Yeah, I think it's more command of his slider, getting ahead with his fastball and then wiping people out with his slider. That's where he gets his swing and miss.
He has some chances to add on in those middle innings. Do you see anything in those at-bats in particular, maybe with runners on base?
No, I think we're just going, the San Diego series, we left a lot of guys on base too, and I think we're just going through a period, and I've always said you always come out of that.
What have you seen from Castellanos?
He's just jumping. He's super aggressive. He just needs to stay back, see some pitches, use the field.
Is there thoughts of moving him down the lineup?
Yeah, I won't comment on that, but yeah.
And I know you've been really excited about what you had seen from Trey. Was there any more evidence that even after a few days away, comes back and homer, walks, stolen base, runs scored? You pretty sure that he's past?
Yeah, I think the rest is off.
I mean,
So, but I do, monitor him the next couple of days because of 3 days off and not getting any work. But geez, he looked like he didn't miss a beat today.
Yet you have Turner come back after having a baby. He hits a home run for the baby. I mean, it just. And I brought
storybook.
up. It's
a storybook.
It is.
Look at the streak here: 386 batting average during a 16-game hitting streak. Extended it to 16 tonight. 10-game RBI streak. First Philly to have that 10-game RBI streak since Bobby Abreu in 2005. 378 batting average in the 29 games since the standing ovation. It's incredible.
By the way, I
78.
I believe in the whole karma thing. I believe in the baseball gods and all that stuff. You know that.
Yeah.
The baseball gods got him in the press conference for not putting on the hat. And then the fans were like the Snow White. They were the apple.
They were. Take a bite.
Or the Prince Charming, or the frog, whatever you want to call it.
But
I'm bringing up every Disney.
You really are, and we just got a call. You've got tickets to the theme parks.
Yeah,
just
right.
for that. When you look at the vibe in this ballpark tonight, it was just magical, and it was a shame
and to
see
me,
it go the way.
To me, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing because you're talking about the Marlins, a team that we see here all the time. It's not like one of these teams that just kind of sneaks in here every 3 years. This is a team that comes in here all year long, and the Phillies fans show up to say, you know what, we still don't like you, Fish.
Yeah.
I like that.
Interestingly, they are now 1-3 at home against the Marlins. They're 4-3 against the Marlins in Miami.
Very strange.
Figure that out? I can't. 5-6 for
Miami's
the season.
a dungeon, that place, and I don't think you get the adrenaline rush down there. But it's weird because they go down there and you know what? It's just one of those things. They come up here and maybe they get the adrenaline rush. Did you ever think of that?
Yeah.
From the fans,
Yeah.
because I used to get a huge adrenaline rush when I got booed, especially like if you're in a opposing ballpark. I used to love it. Loved it.
Here's Trea Turner about his night. New Papa. Here he is, post-game clubhouse.
Crazy few days for you? Yeah, a lot of travel, but everybody's healthy and home and good, so that's all you can ask for. So it was a good couple days, and then back at it today, and happy everything went smooth.
I don't know, it was your first at bat since having your second son. Was that any more special hitting that one or no?
Yeah, no, it was cool. I don't know, I tend to not think about those things in the moment, and then Reese was like, you want that ball? And I was like, it's probably a good idea. So make a little trade for it, and pretty cool moment, looking back at it now. But in the moment, I was just happy I put a good swing on the ball. So it was cool.
You got the ball?
Yeah, got the ball.
What did you get to give up for it?
I just trade a couple autographs. I don't bargain. They just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. So nice enough for them to trade it out, and hope it was a cool moment for them as well.
So then you walk, you steal second, score. Are you thinking like could be kind of a special, fun night?
Yeah, just playing good baseball. I was not worried, but I'm glad my timing was still there a little bit. I didn't know if a couple days would affect me. Got in the cage and a little weird, but then when you're out there between the lines, you just react and play, and was in a good spot.